All right, my friend, we are here to read and react to what we're seeing here on day 11 of our 40-day walk through Abraham's life of faith. What a day, what a conversation is in front of us today. God and Abraham's blisteringly frank conversation continues. Yesterday, as you'll recall, God reaffirmed his promise to give Abraham a biological son that will lead to countless future descendants. Remember that? Well, today the conversation continues, and God reaffirms Abraham's descendants will, in fact, possess Canaan as their permanent home. And God confirms that promise in two really shocking ways. So let's dive in and take a look. It is day 11. We're reading Genesis 15, 7 through 21, and we're reacting to it. So if you haven't already, my friend, now is the time to read for yourself, and then I'll come back in with my own green, yellows, and reds today, my reactions that may prompt yours too. So dive in, read, enjoy. We'll circle back. So starting with that reading, go ahead and hit pause right now. Okay, let's assume you read. We're going to move on again. Day 11, taking a look at Genesis 15, 7 through 21, right here in our reading guide. And this is a beautiful and very consequential conversation between Abraham and the Lord. It's got implications that continue to play out even today, both in the news, in our faith, and in our own personal walk with God. It's that big of a deal. But Abraham doesn't quite know that yet. This is more of a personal conversation between he and God. And so let's take a look and dive in for a little bit. First off, just to kind of give you the overview. Where does this thing go? Like I said, the conversation is continuing with the Lord and Abraham today. And God goes back to the history they have together. And he's the Lord who brought you, that's Abram, out of Ur of the Chaldeans. And it was for a purpose. God intended to give Abraham this land, the land where he's standing now, Canaan, as its possession. But Abraham, has questions about that. And for me, there's my green for today. My highlight here is this question and the Lord's response, or the kind of response that the Lord gives. I love it. Taking a look. First of all, Abram's question. He just says, "Oh, sovereign Lord, how can I be sure that I will actually possess it?" Man, I like that God and Abraham are at this point in their relationship where Abraham can just ask, "How am I going to know this is really going to happen?" And I love the Lord's response here. And he starts with what he's doing here. He's doing something that's not unusual for the culture of Abraham's time. He directs Abraham to set up what amounts to a contract signing ceremony. All right. Nowadays we think of, I don't know if it's a big deal. Maybe it's the president sits at the desk and he's got the pen, and he's signing something into law, or there's a big deal that gets inked between two companies. It's a big ceremony, and that's how we do it with the signing of the contract. Well, what the Lord's doing here is telling Abraham to set up the equivalent of that in Abraham's time and place. So what does all that mean? Well, basically, the Lord doesn't respond to Abram's request for assurances with contempt, with anger, with frustration, even though Abraham's coming to him with questions. God treats it more like he's like a contract. He's like, you want to lock this in? You want me to give you assurances? Let's sign the document. Draw up the papers. I like that because that tells me there's room in a life of friendship and faith with God to ask God, how am I going to know? How do I know that what you're telling me is true? How do I trust that our relationship, that my life is going where you say that it's going? There's room for that. I love it. Now let's talk yellow for a minute. How about this one? There's so many puzzling moments here. This contract agreement, which, by the way, I get into that in today's reading guide. I try to give you some of that the little nerdy extra background to really help today pop make sense for you. But where I'm picking my yellow is right here, where the Lord says, I have given this land to your descendants all the way from the border of Egypt to the great Euphrates River, the land now occupied by, and he goes into this list of all these people groups right here. And first thing, just note real quick, look at this verb tense here. I know that's nerdy, but look at this. The Lord says, I have given. Have given. It's happened now, and with future implications. This is already a done deal. Because the contract that Abram and God are initiating here together guarantees this. It's like it's already happened. As far as the dependability of the promise, I've already done it, God says. And then I'm curious about, who are these characters here? What borders for the land does this give us? The land that God's promising to Abraham. All right, so there's my yellow. Now I want to show you my red. Let's take a look. And for my red, it comes up here, the paragraph above. Now, this is super interesting, fascinating, and incredible. Did you know that there's this prophecy here? Did you see it? God's predicting what's going to happen to Abraham's descendants. And it includes the events of the book of Exodus and the end of Genesis, where Abraham's descendants, the Hebrews, will be slaves, they'll be oppressed. And then here's the Exodus, I'll punish that nation that enslaves them. In the end, they'll come out away with great wealth. That's the events of Exodus, right? And then this neat promise for Abraham, it's reassuring. As for you, he tells Abraham, you'll die in peace and be buried at a ripe old age. Okay, so why is this red for me? Well, let me show you. My red highlight is right here. After 4 generations, your descendants will return here to this land, for the sins of the Amorites do not yet warrant their destruction. Here, can I just say, for Abraham, what this means is there is still a lot of waiting. God is going to give him a son, so that's coming in his lifetime. I mean, it's just a matter of genetics, you know what I'm saying? He's going to have a son. But the rest of this, having the land of Canaan as his family's possession and all this, well, God's telling Abraham here that you're going to have to go to your grave with your legacy in my hands. Abraham's going to have to live out the rest of his days, trusting that God will, in fact, keep his promise. He's not going to see it himself. And I don't like that. I don't want to think about that in a life of faith where I go, that God's got great future ahead. He's made promises. I may not live to see them all. And if I'm Abraham, big question is that enough for me? Am I okay with that? Am I satisfied enough with God saying it's going to take centuries, but everything I've promised you will come true, even if you don't live to see it?